Time to recruit Blake! Unlike other parts of the castle, where pages and servants rush about on their daily tasks, the library is more restricted. The castle guard stands on duty in front of the heavy doors. One of our people, I'm glad to note. Every time I see a soldier with Star Trek symbol on their chest, I get nervous. The guards nod to me as I enter the room. This is a good place to hang around when I need silence, but not to feel too cooped up, like I would in my room. I enjoy the hushed atmosphere. I remember being in here as a child when my mother read out loud to me. The librarian at the time had always been strict with me, and why I resented it at the time, I sort of understand now. When I run a hand along the spine of the nearest book, I see the binding shiver with magic. Each tome has been carefully enchanted to prevent aging and damage, but even that isn't enough to protect some of the older ones I spot. Those are locked behind glass and key. Remembering what Glinda said about forgetting my runes, I search for a primer on the subject when a loud noise crashes through the library. Your Majesty! A man rushes over me, shaking my hand furiously. At first I can't place him, but as he starts to talk, I feel a recognition blooming in the back of my mind. I don't think Oobleck is the kind of person you can just forget. Master Oobleck! Ah, if it isn't the prodigal queen returning to her old hunting ground! I really wish I could speak faster when I did Oobleck voice. But I'm just going to trip on my own tongue. I must say it's quite a pleasure to know you're still alive and healthy after all these years, young lady. A lot of us have started to give up hope. You do remember, you don't you, dear girl? Though it had been a while, so I will understand if you don't. As if I could forget a personality as big as that. Master Oobleck, it's good to see you too. Oh, and I do apologize for not being at the coronation. I had a few important experiments that needed my constant supervision lest they go awry. He gasps. Egad, such a man be! Looking stricken and pale, he dips away in a flutter of paper and semblance. In his wake, the wind kicks up around me. Just as quickly, he returns with a stack of books nearly as tall as he is. I really like how Oobleck never exceeds the screen normally. He's just fucking Noom. Never mind, all is well. Never forgot to put the timer on the latest batch. While I was out though, I did remember that you got requested to be given your recruited wording for the year, so here you are! Without another word of warning, he tries to dump the entire pile into my arms. Given that you're going to be somewhat out of practice after so many years, I of course offer my service as a tutor, and as I did when we were younger with Queen Nubelax. Putting the books aside on the nearest plaster fight, I threw up both hands to try and get him to quiet down. Ah, stop! He stops looking at me expectantly. Just Drury is fine, master. I insist. The librarian pauses for a solid 4 seconds, longer than I ever recall seeing him stay still. I can almost see the calculations running behind his spectacles. Very well, fine by we. A few syllables too, very efficient. So, what can I help you with? Well, now that I'm here, would it be possible to take a look at some records of early history of the plane? Of course, my dear. Anything more specific? Anything about Crescent Rose. Anything about how the world's lineage started, how we claimed rulership. I'm actually very interested in that, like, who was the first fucker who managed to tame Crescent Rose? That would be really interesting. If I have anything on that, that would be great. His glasses gleam with a sudden intensity. A hefty request though not unusual one. To understand which direction the tree grows, one must discover how the... blah blah. I truly look forward to working with you more in the future, and if you need anything at all, oh god, there she is again, how many times did I... Mike's dialogue is not helping me reading. She's great though. Looking in surprise at the non-sequitur, I take a moment to realize Oobleck is not even talking to me anymore. He speeds over to the window, overlooking the courtyard outside, a scowl darkening his face. I've told her once, I've told her 1,000 times not to try coming in escorted. The Russian will look out for her nest just to bother her. Calming under his breath, he unlatches the window and pokes his head outside. How did he know Blake was like here? Does he have super hearing too? Down below I can faintly hear the sound of an argument, most of it getting carried away by the wind. How did he manage to hear that? It's so faint even now. I don't think he's just so used to Blake getting into a fight with people that he just became hypersensitive to this shit. Joining him, I take a glance down myself. Oh. That girl. You know her? Sort of. I saw her at the menagerie. She seemed like she knew me. Does she live in the castle? No, she comes and goes as she pleases, usually. Louder, he shouts down to try and get their attention. Hey you there! Hello? Yes, please allow Mrs. Fuck. Belladonna through the door. I am indeed in dear... Hello? Hello? The argument below continues on just as intense. It seems they can't hear Oblak over the wind either. Straightening out, he adjusts his spectacles so that they aren't sliding down his nose. Ah, curses, if you'll excuse me, Ruby, I need to make sure Mrs. Belladonna isn't arrested again. As soon as I blink, he's gone. When I look outside, he joins a pair of guards harassing the phoneless woman. Curious about what's going on, I follow Oblak down the stairs into the courtyard. The librarian is deep in debate with two of the guards. Drawn by the commotion, a few more appear, all of them looking tense. I'm telling you, Mrs. Belladonna is bringing me invaluable data that I need for my research. Research has benefits the entire kingdom, mind you. You can yell all you like, that doesn't change the law. No visitors are allowed further than this point, especially ones who have no business being here. The librarian looks ready to tear his hair out. She does have business here, aren't you listening? I've been living here for longer than you've been alive. I know this young lady and I trust her. She's been in the castle countless times and never caused any troubles, I can vouch for that. Listen, we have... She casts a derisive eye over at Phonus. Friends, we want to be able to invite inside. If you want the cat sniffing around here so badly, you need signed approval from the manager of trade proving she has legitimate cause to be here. Lifting up a sheet of paper, the guard taps at it with her free hand. And not a shoddy forgery like the one she has stuffed into her pocket. The Phonus woman, silent until now, speaks up. It's not forgery. I'm sorry for this voice, but I'm not a voice actor and I only have so many voices I can do, okay? Tortrick signed up that himself. I watched him do it. Sure you did. I hope someone like you knows what the manager of trade even looks like, much less his signature. Oh, of course, how silly of me. You're right, why would I need to know what my boss' signature looks like? Just quit right ahead. Are you calling me a liar? Look, if you're so sure that's forgery, why haven't you locked me up? Forgery of castle document is a greater crime than showing up at the door and asking to be let in. Be quiet. I'll quiet down when you start treating me like a person. Sorry, with respect. Will someone color this cat already before she breaks something? The fur on the Phonus ears and tail bristled up, her teeth blabbering in a snarl. Touch me and you'll draw away a bloody stump! A feeling of dread rises in me as one of the guards move in, a pair of shackles at the ready to cart the Phonus away. None of this sits right with me. Wait a minute. I lift up my voice for attention, and all activity immediately stops. Just what is going on here? I can't help but notice these guards are tortured people, which is already a strike against them in my eyes. Your Majesty! Ruby, thanks goodness! These revenge rules are done by there! She's being a disruptive presence. She wasn't being disruptive, it was threatening her! Okay. I mean, if you're watching this video, you're probably not watching it because you want my smooth French voice to actually read accurately what the people are saying, so... Oh god. Speaking fast is hard. Enough! They fall silent again. I turned to the phonist woman, trying to remember what Oobleck had called her. Miss Belladonna, was it? Blake Belladonna. You and Oobleck work together? Occasionally. Blake's theme is really nice. Mrs. Belladonna lives in the southern forest and deals with entirely different species of game than we're accustomed here. We compare notes. It's important to share knowledge between neighboring territory, especially now that we've been spotting unusual migration patterns in the hordes. Though I guess it's too much hope that some people will understand the importance of our work. You can do your work elsewhere. She still isn't allowed inside the castle grounds. But my tools are in here. How am I supposed to study the samples she brings up without my tools? You're just... God, me reading complex dialogue. It's okay, Master Oobleck. I'll leave as soon as I have my document back. Roman can explain why his permission slip got branded as forgery. Because he sucks. You heard the lady? I tipped my head toward Blake meaningfully, keeping my eyes on the guard. After a moment of hesitation, the guard returned the note. Blake can't even hide her pleasant smile. Thank you, Your Majesty. Your reputation precedes you. Blake is so fucking tall compared to Ruby. The guard points to Blake, waving over one of her subordinates. Just get out of here. No need for that, I'll escort her myself. They stand down at my command. I take Blake by the elbow and lead her back through the courtyard to the main gate. No one stops us. Oobleck is close at our heels. Some of the fire leaves her when she realizes the fight is over. I really didn't mean to cause any troubles. I know, dear girl. And thank you for stepping in when you did. Ruby could legit hug Blake and have her head full of titties. I'm just saying. She removes my title and straightens her back, tense again. Your Majesty. Just Ruby is fine. She blinks so slowly, like cats do when they want to show they love you. Which I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is what they intended here. I think they just wanted Blake to be like the fuck. But she's fucking gay as balls, so that could also be a valid interpretation. She blinks slowly, but otherwise shows no response. You're very hands-on for a noble, aren't you? Her yellow gaze falls on my hand and her elbow. Oh god, yes, she has yellow eyes. This is so cool. Like, I mean, I don't want to salt on actual canon tribute so much, because that's not why you're here for. But as a furry, I really like how SRC have the phone as being more than just one trait. That's fucking neat. I let her go, feeling the heat rise up in my cheeks. Sorry you got dragged into this. She pauses. Rubbish. It was no problem at all. Master Oobleck is a trusted ally. A friend to him is a friend to me. I'm also interested in the work you two are doing. We need all the information we can gather on the Grim. We certainly do! I need you back whenever you're available, Blake! I'll return as soon as I can. Maybe after I manage to grab an audience with Ospin. The mention of Ospin makes me tilt my head curiously. Any way I can help with that too? If you and Oobleck have important research to the Summerwolves Court would love to have it. The tense silence stretches between us as we reach the gate. I can feel Blake's curtain like she's trying to pull me open and look inside. It's kind of creepy. I've been trying to get an audience with Ospin for years now. You are really determined. Then again, I guess you don't really have any other choice. But each time we get close, something like this happens. I'm sorry to hear that. Oobleck, couldn't you have passed a message along to Ospin? I could have, but this is the first time I've heard of it. I don't want to entrench you in my political problems. Well, how about me? I'm like deep ass into political shit. I'm the fucking queen, my dude. My girl. Tell me what you want. I want to kiss you. Oh, sorry, you meant politically. Now she's testing me. I'm not good at all this political stuff, but when it's just me and another person, I think I can get my point across well enough. I'd like to hear more about the city faunus. You don't see him like they have representation in the court, and I think that's a shame, which is why my first court member is going to be a faunus. Because, fuck you all, I do what I want. And I do who I want. And you assume I'm one of them? I'm from the Southern Forest. Yeah, I saw you at the menagerie. At the very least, you know your way around. She didn't say anything to that. If you don't feel comfortable representing the city faunus, do you know someone who would? Possibly, but Adam hates your guts, and Velvet too. They'll probably try to kill you in your sleep. Which I would normally agree about, but I'm like, super gay for you right now. How does tomorrow afternoon sound? Aspen will be there too as well. How am I supposed to see you when even a legitimate pass gets accused of being a forgery? I make sure that doesn't happen again. If you have an address in the city where you feel comfortable accepting letters, please pass it along to me through Master Oblique. I'll send an official summons for you, so we can do this right. But Torchwick can suck my dick. It is my house, and I decide who gets inside. Why are you going out of your way from me like this? My dude. Oh yeah, right, it's a choice thing. I always speak it's the right thing. I don't know if it's the right answer, but I do what I want, okay? It's the right thing to do. I mean, I just spent 7 years in the fucking desert and I come back to this shit. Someone gotta feel that. We need to hear from all voices, all walks of life. Only by working together can we achieve any kind of harmony. This is a really beautiful line. Now I feel bad for shitposting for like 5 minutes straight. Did you write that spiel all on your own, or did someone coach you? All on my own. But I had to practice because I get nervous telling people what I really think. Writing it out and thinking about it carefully before I say it means I give it all the weight it deserves. Clinda is sharp with me because she knows she can get away with it. But Blake's completely vulnerable here. Yet she's still challenging me. I wonder if she is this fearless with everyone. She didn't even bat an eye at the idea of being imprisoned, or worse. I can't leave Castle Grounds without an escort, and so that's where she and I part ways. The next day, I pace in front of the throne, waiting for Blake to arrive. Once Ospin and Glinda were made aware of the situation, they agreed to meet with the faunus representatives. Even though Roman had given Blake a pass, it was his people who had kept her from seeing us. Roman has been interfering with faunus' attempt to communicate with the court. But why would he do something like that? Because intolerance with fear, and fear breeds intolerance, and that means money. How deep is his hold on the city, anyway? At least half the guards, and he's master of trades as well. Ospin interrupts my thoughts. Excited? Very. I tried looking up what I could, but there was very little information about the faunus here. We had faunus in the desert, but the Kata tribe were unfriendly to strangers. Oh yeah, I forgot this piece of world building. Considering what I've seen, that's starting to make more sense. What voice can I do for Ospin? The faunus on this plane are split into 3 main groups. The city faunus, the southern forest faunus, and the Kata tribe to the west. The ones who requested an audience are the forest faunus. Oh, really? I thought Blake was going to bring a city faunus. This group in particular lives right on the edge of Grim territory. Very far from us, I might add. They still have regular contact with the city faunus. And they're citizens of the kingdom. We need to cooperate with them. Yang, who's taking a break from training with a regular castle guard, is with us as well. She reclines against the throne with her arms crossed, here in her official capacity as Queen's Guard. There are too many people in this scene, I can't lose that many voices. So, is it like a delegation, or a group, or... Just 2. They said they speak for all 3 faunus. Which might seem like a bold move, but I mean, give us freedom and also respect bitches isn't that hard of a message to get across. I don't like the sound of that. It's not long before Blake and her associate arrive. I take my place on the throne, feeling the vine tremble under my hand. Hello, Blake. Your Majesty. She won't be skipping on my title in front of others, it seems. I brought the leader of the city Faunus, Adam Torres. Though we currently reside in... I was doing a voice for Blake. Though we currently reside in the southern forest, both of us were born here in Vale and still consider us as citizens of a kingdom. We are happy to talk to the Queen at last. It took fucking long enough. Despite their wars, their discontent is clear. They do not appreciate how many barricades were put on their way before they could reach this moment. Can you blame them though? I mean, Blake literally said it's been years. She's been trying for years to just talk to someone. It would have been faster to set something on fire and wait for the trial to talk to them. Blake and Adam start talking politics and established laws. Their biggest priority is shutting down the menageries. They think the segregation in place has its roots in positive intent. Keep the Faunus and the humans separate to ease tensions in the city. A place for Faunus to open our own business and build homes that cater to our specific needs. It's a fun fact, Adam's wearing like a rose symbol on his armrest, but normally you only the... I just realized the fucking height difference here. But yeah, what I was saying is, normally in this universe, only the Rose family can wear, a rose. Or like people descended from roses. So Adam is doing something really bold. Thankfully, Ruby wasn't really raised too much into the rose culture, so she don't really care. But it's become clear that the execution is flawed. The menagerie lack access to the same benefits that a human neighborhood of similar wealth would. For example, when our water supply became contaminated, we were denied permission to share with our human neighbors while the problem was being fixed. And when we dug our own well in the meantime, it was completely without aid from the city engineers or tools. We had to find it all on our own. If I recall, we did send some of the city engineers down there to help you. As I understand, you turned them aside? Because they wouldn't cooperate with the community. All their plans they draft up will have caused damages to surrounding buildings. People's homes! And when we tried to communicate that or come up with a different solution, they stormed off. I sink lower in my seat. All of this seems like way too much, and it all took place while I was hiding in the desert. Life has always been difficult for Faunus in the city. Ever since the attack on the Rose Throne several years ago, it's deteriorated even further, which is why we're going to attack again. Well, I mean, we didn't attack 7 years ago, but we're going to do the attack this time. So, fuck this shit. Coup ideas. Humans have an unfair advantage. That's treating us worse than animals. We're trying to salvage this before things could get worse. Well, ask for the proposal, because protesting is just being a racist dick. And I don't feel comfortable suggesting ideas, as I'm not actually living here. So, it's clear that what we have right now doesn't work. I can hear fucking Blake and Adam judging me right now. Let's change it. And how do you propose we do that, Your Majesty? I don't know, that's why you're here. You're the one who lives in the menagerie, so you have first-hand knowledge of what's needed here. And you're the one who tried to meet us with so long. So I'm assuming you have ideas. What solution do you propose? Blake and Adam share a look. A moment of tension passes between them. Then without another word, they carry on as though they've rehashed this. Our first priority is the destruction of the walls. They were built to protect us, but it's clear they're now being used as a cage. We need every stone torn down. We're still rebuilding parts of the city after the attack on the Rose Throne. We can't spare workers to destroy it again. What the High Wizard means is we'll need to schedule this carefully and find the resources to begin such a project. We have Masons labor among the faunus. Plenty of them have already promised their skills to the task. I just want to stress the importance of dismantling the menagerie walls more than anything else, and we can use those stones to build some other shit that we need. That's a bold move. We'll need to proceed with caution and wait for a proper time. We've waited long enough. Why are we moving by your time schedule when you aren't the ones directly affected? He's not wrong. We don't need your help, we just need your permission. Or you'll slap us with destruction of public property. We might steal, the court hasn't agreed to anything yet. Then you haven't been listening to us. What could be possibly holding you back? This is such a waste of time, we can tear the walls down ourselves. You're the only thing standing in our way and we're losing patience. Is that a threat? That's so charming. Am I supposed to grovel after waiting 3 years for you to even listen to us? Adam's not being much diplomatic, but honestly, you can't blame him. 3 years of long-ass fucking time. Yet now that you have the chance, you're about to waste an opportunity Her Majesty deigned to give you. My companion is merely trying to... The physical barrier between the humans and the faunus are... Then tell him to mind himself when the presence of the last rose hair. Glinda, please. He puts her hand on her shoulder, but she shakes him off. This is getting so ugly. This isn't a conversation, this is an argument. What do I do? I don't want them to fight. The vine on the throne, always moving just under the surface, starts getting agitating along with me. I'm not sure how it happens, but they respond to my frustration. I should have expected no better from a bund of silk-wearing flat teeth. Flat teeth is an amazing fucking slur, though. Not slur, that's not the word I'm looking for. Insult? You don't care about anyone except yourselves. I clawed my way out of Grimm's teeth mountain trails on my hands and knees. No one cares. Glinda, I love you, but no one fucking cares. I was the only Rilla to arrive in time to save this city 7 years ago. Do not hurl such accusations at me. Don't rest on your laurels. You shoved off once and then you abandoned us for 7 years. At that last exchange, a sharp pang of guilt stabbed me. The steel vines burst out from their restrictions. I really like this music, which is... I don't know if it's a creepy theme or just a chrysanthemum theme, but it's really neat. The throne is no longer simple stone, but bristling in violent steel, thorns brandished over every inch. I feel them prick just under my skin, easily sliding through the joints of my armor and the thin fabric of my clothes, and energy surges through me. Everyone, please! Enough! The wind of my cymbals amplifies and grows. A gust of hot desert wine tears through the wound in a sudden blast, knocking everyone back a few steps. This is getting us nowhere. I didn't have this meeting so we could stand here insulting each other. As I calm down, so do the winds. They settle down, leaving rose petals scattered across the floor. We are here to find a better solution. Or at least the start of one. I still need your assistance with the upcoming Grim threat. You need our help as well. We should be allies. The creatures of Grimm grew bolder by the day, even though we are distracted by matters here at home. Soon it won't matter who is faunus and who is human. That's very easy for you to say. Regardless, we brought you here for more than just peace talk. The work you've been doing with Oblak has not escaped my notice. I'm very impressed by it. Had I known you were trying to contact us, I would have reached out to you sooner. The conversation went down. After the tense moment we had just escaped, I found myself growing optimistic again. There's no reason we can't all work together. Perhaps we should take a break to allow time for everyone to have a more level head on their shoulder. I want to continue this talk to reach a more firm agreement. Would you like to return tomorrow? Of course. I'll bring the other representative as well. Is it Velvet? Oh my god, is it fucking Velvet? We'll take our leave then. Wait a minute. Miss Belladonna, could you and I speak privately about something? Blake takes a deep breath, opening her mouth to respond. But before she can, Adam speaks for her. Of course you can. We've worked this hard just to get you to speak to you. We're not going to turn down any possibility to speak more with you. He reaches out and grabs her shoulder, squeezing with a nice knuckle grip. Then she is escorted out. Hopping off the throne, I walk over to Blake. Would you like to take a walk around the castle? What? So we can talk. I'm not taking you on a date yet. Oh, of course. Mindful of how I had dragged her around last time, this time I gesture outside to let her lead. Young makes as though to follow us, but I give her my best collie face. Alone, Yang. I'm just trying to be Queen's Guard. But holler if you need me. I'm sorry things got so heated in there. Me too, it's a delicate subject. Yeah, no kidding. But I hope you and I can continue being friends and helping each other. Of course. I'll ask Master Rublek to help me compile our information into something easier to read. And then we can share with Lord Ospin and Lady Glinda. Sounds like a plan. Do you want to get started right away? Yeah, that's where we're headed, because the library is that way. She points in the opposite direction. I'm taking the long way around so I can ask you something. Do you want to be a member of the Summer Rose Court? She stops in her tracks. Then she shakes her head, laughing under her breath. What? I'm serious. You have Yang to represent the western part of this plane, Glinda the north, Ospin the east, and I'm here for the central part. Ideally, we're getting 1 or 2 people from each of the other plane. So we also need someone to speak for the funnies in this house. What makes you my first choice? I like you. I don't know if this is the best choice for Blake, but it works, and my experience being as gay as possible works for Blake, so... I like you. Oh, you speak your mind, and Master Blake likes you too. And you'll take charge, get stuff down, and you're trying to keep things cool in here. I don't know, I just have a good feeling about you. Like you're actually representable and you have a different perspective on shit, which is cool. I don't mind joining your court, but do you have the authority to appoint me? Of course I do, I'm the queen. I think we both know better than that. What? I'd like to work together, but not if we aren't going to be honest about what's really going on here. My eyebrows furrow in frustration, confusion. I don't understand. It's all very convenient. The young and beautiful queen, she said I was beautiful, noble and kind-hearted, lost in the desert for years and years. Wait, discovered in the middle of the darkest chapter of our history, rushed back into aristocracy, and now expected to lead her people to stability and peace? I know a story when I see one. I mean, Blake's not wrong to assume that. That's what I was saying earlier about the whole... In another video I was talking about how like the whole long lost hair coming back is a trope that's often used, but no one ever addresses the fact that someone who wasn't raised here would have no idea what the fuck to do. So like I'm glad Blake is being trope savvy here. Like you have no reason to be here. Anyone else could be on this fucking throne. Why did it have to be you? It's not a story though, I am the queen here. Blake rolls her eyes. You really don't believe me? You think Ospin made me up or something? Like a puppet? Well, yeah. Why else would the queen be allowed around the dangerous furnace all alone? She gestures around her at the empty old halls, and my heartbeat starts to quicken. She does have a point. You're young, inexperienced. A perfect figurehead for Ospin and Goodwich to pass whatever rules they like without taking the blame. I'm 17, that's an adult of the Xiaolong tribe, you know. Imagining to stay alive past an arbitrary age doesn't make you an adult. It's what you've been through. You have no idea what I've been through. Okay, but another thing I like... I'm sorry I'm annoying, but again, if you wanted just someone to read the text and you go to Shay's Let's Play, it's really fucking great. Shay, if you're watching this, I love you and you're amazing. But yeah, another thing I really like is how they don't try to play Ruby as this one naive girl who hasn't seen shit, because she's been through some tough shit. Like, she's lived in her desert, so she had to learn to live without the luxury being a royalty would have. She lost her whole family, her fucking uncle. There was that one fucking big grim attack before she came here. Like, they don't try to play like, oh no, Queen Ruby doesn't know anything, and she's naive and she's optimistic because she doesn't know any better. Like, no, she knows just how bad things can be, and she chooses to look at the bright side of shit, which is fucking hell, my dude. I know you want to help, but you need to wake up, or someone like Aspin or Adam is going to eat you alive. Like this. I remember an out of context quote of the developers being like, knife at throat, can we make it sexy? Of course we can make it sexy. So I'm assuming that's what it was referring to. God, Blake is so fucking tall. Remember when I said Ruby could hug her and just face in titties? Like, damn. There's no other warning before I hear the rattle of chains. Blake moves impossibly fast, holding out her weapon and stretching it across my throat, shoving me onto the walls. Show me your strength as queen. You can't, can you? She presses against me, harder. This scene is... You know exactly what I want to say. You're completely defenseless. Underrated, but I really like Blake's hair. It's really fucking neat. That's why they do to pawns, you know? They let them take hits. Despite her words, her action, I feel no anger from Blake. No hostility. She just looks sad. I blink up at her, my palms pressed against the cool stone. It feels like the arms of the throne, and I focus on that sensation. You'd better let go of me. Or what? I tense up, blasting out with my semblance. It hits Blake full force, knocking her backward. The winds, 10 times stronger than had been in the desert, sent her tumbling head over heel, out down the hallway in a flurry of rose petals. Ah! As I walk over to her, I notice she'd lost her grip on her weapon. Bending down to pick it up, I give it an experimental twirl. A blade made of pure white bone, connected by solid black chains. I approach her. She's sitting with her back to the wall, her ears pressed flat against her skull. Okay, I'm gonna be annoying once more, but as a furry, I really like how they take full advantage of how furry people would display emotions. Because if you had extra limbs, such as a tail, or ears, or wings, or whatever the fuck, of course you're going to use them to display emotions too. So anytime they move it, they describe Blake as moving her ears, or lashing out her tail, or shit like that. I'm just here like, yes, my good dude. Just, if you're writing a character who is not human, take full advantage of their inhumanity, okay? Whether you're writing smut, or just fluff, or just them in their real life, someone who has extra or missing stuff is not going to behave exactly the same way a normal regular person would. Like, that's just basic logic. Take advantage of what you have. How did... Watching out with the chain of ice, I take the edge of the blade and hold it in her chin. I'm tougher than I look. Which is... Like, I appreciate even more how they drew Ruby small and shit. And with all the adorable puppy eyes and like... Because the contrast is even greater between what Ruby can do and what she looks like. She's quiet, eyes narrowed, until I reverse my grip, holding the weapon so that she can grab the handle. After a moment, she does. She stands up and rubs her jaw, testing it by opening her mouth wide and wincing. So that wasn't just a parlor trick back there in the throne room. Nope. Flat god eyes, like freshly minted coins, stare at me with renewed intensity. How did you do that? That's my semblance, kind of. There's something in my blood, something that makes it very powerful. But that's proof I'm the queen. I'm connected to all sorts of things in the plane. I'll explain it more in detail later if you like. In the meantime, is that made of green bone? Imagine trying to assassinate the queen and her first reaction is just, holy shit, that's a freaking neat weapon. Oh god, Ruby, never change. Confused at my sudden shift in topic, Blake stares at me for a moment before making the connection. Oh, you mean the chains dice? She lifts up at the weapon, displaying it to me. Yes, does she have a name? No, not yet. But these do. Holding the nameless scythe in one hand, she reaches behind her back, and as she's there, and she sees a small straight sword, one I'd never noticed. This is Gumball. I'll show you right next to him. They're all made of grim and bark of the forest tree. But how? Grim bone is unbreakable without magic. There's not a fire hot enough to mold forest bark. It's part of my research with Oblak. I'm a scientist, bitch. Her eyes widen. The research I've completely sabotaged by... Her ears droop down, hanging limply atop of her skull. By attacking the Queen of Vale. Yeah, you fucked up, .png. Well, in your defense, you thought you were helping me. It was just... You were just... I really thought you were... An innocent little girl over her head. She bites her lip to keep from incriminating herself further. You weren't gonna hurt me anyway. You're a good person. I can tell that sorta stuff. Lowering her head some, Blake keeps quiet. Coin's intuition? Exactly. Now come with me. We have a lot to do if we're going to keep the kingdom safe. For everybody. I gesture for her to follow and she does. Do you have a place to stay in the city? I do, sometimes. Great! And reliable transportation to the castle if we need you. She pats her outer thigh as we walk. Do my legs count? Never skip a leg day. Technically. But it may be easier for you if you just cut out the question of transportation altogether. Excuse you? We have a bunch of empty rooms that belong to old court members. We could clear one out and bring your things in. If you want to stay here, that is. She swallows. I literally just tried to kill you, what the fuck? Could I see the room? Of course, let's go right now. A few days after I approve my first court number, I get a summon from Glenda, urging me to meet her in the throne room when I'm able. This made me so fucking wild from Blake's point of view, cause like imagine you try to kill the queen and her first reaction is, oh yeah, that's fucking neat, your weapon is rad, here's a room, and you can visit me whenever. She is waiting for me when I arrive. Hello, Lady Goodwitch. How are things? Only mildly chaotic, so a definite step up from earlier this week. Choosing a Faunus to be your first group member was an inspired decision, and that's where I'm going to save and leave. Oof. Love you all. If you want, leave a comment, leave a like, something, so I know you liked it. And goodbye, have a nice day.